Hello everybody, my name is Leora. This is Diamonds from the Rough, and I am making a change to how I do videos. Because let me just tell you, video making is hard and I suck at it and I hate it. However, I love flipping furniture. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I do on this channel. If you like it, I'd love for you to follow me, subscribe. I'm gonna try and put more of these out because my goal right now is to skip the video editing and you're gonna get the real world style of this is just what happens. I hate doing voiceovers. It takes me forever. I'm not going to do them anymore. I'm going to make this so much easier on myself so that I can get videos out to you, which is what I want to do. Okay, so this is my piece. I got it from Habitat for Humanity Restore probably over a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years now. So this thing is, in my opinion, beautiful. I think this is called Eastlake style. I could be wrong. I'm gonna have to Google it. And it's in pretty good shape. I was a little nervous just to sit on it. But that's kind of the first test. Can you even sit on this thing before you go through all the effort of refinishing it? Yes, I can. This was the price, $125, except I didn't pay that because I go back on Saturdays. And here in Colorado, that is 40% off day. So almost half price. I got this bad boy for like 70 bucks. I'm gonna start stripping this thing down. I guess I could start regular speed and just show you a little bit of what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna use for the majority of the deconstruction, or destruction as I like to call it too. This is so much fun to rip apart. If you've never taken a piece of furniture down to the studs, I highly recommend it. It's just super cool to see how things go together. I'm not much of a mechanical person, but I enjoy this kind of building and deconstructing it to see how they put it together. What I'm going to use, hammer, this puppy that I got on Amazon. It is an upholstery tool for removing staples, pliers. Gloves are always a good idea. I don't have any up here, so we're not going to use them, but the pliers keeps my hands away from the sharp stuff. And a razor blade, just because you always need a dang razor blade. I'm constantly finding a new use for them. First thing I'm going to do is the obvious, take off the labels and such. And oh look, here's yet another piece of this little top. But here's my first use for the razor blade right off the bat, is to just take the label off. This seems to have taken the label off just fine. I didn't have to get anything greasy on here. Oh, the horror. I wouldn't want it to get dirty. This thing's filthy. It's also sat in my storage unit for the last year or so. Basically, my stuff either lives in the garage until my husband gets upset with me, or lives in the loft until my husband gets upset with me, or lives in my art room until I get upset with me and I'm tired of tripping over it. And that's when it gets work done. So what you're going to do is find yourself a seam. That's your starting point. And right off the bat, you can pretty much just use your pliers to pull away this stuff. This is called GIMP. I'll show you what it is in case you can't see. Okay, this is like your very typical trim on old upholstery. Most of the time you're going to see this on lamps, but it's so old that the GIMP actually just kind of rips in pieces. Normally it would hold together. If you're having trouble, that's where this little pry bar comes in. It's got two little forks right here at the tips that are razor sharp. Don't put it in this way. See how it's against the wood? Turn it so that you're prying against the fabric if you need to pry it up at all. Here's the deal. It is super fragile. It's breaking apart. So I'm not going to show this in real time. I'm going to put it on hyperlapse because this is going to take a while. See you in a bit. Not terrible. I did not really try to remove staples. I just yanked. And I want to start taking off the fabric. This is tufted. I've never worked on anything tufted before, so that's going to be a new challenge. What I don't want to do is ruin the fabric that I take off so much that I can't use it as a template for my new fabric, which I have not yet chosen. See, it's got these little buttons in here, which I'm pretty sure are laced through the back and tied off before you put on the back panel. I'm going to find out. I don't really know how it goes together. That's what I'm going to work on next. I already know that this cushion doesn't come off. This should be some dense foam under there is what that feels like. And this should be batting. Just based on feeling it, you can kind of figure out what's going to be inside there and what you're going to need to buy to replace the upholstery. It's not going to be cheap, I'm sure. Here's my pile. And it's in multiple shades of pink. So you can see what was not in the sun and exposed versus what's been underneath or in the back or against a wall for, I don't know, 100 years. I could be way off on the timing. I don't know. Gotta look that up still. Right there. Those are staples that I don't want to shred my hands on. So what I'm going to do is grab the staple and roll. That's what I'm going to do 10,000 times. Anytime I see a staple sticking out, you don't grab it and pull straight back because that is so much more work. And you're going to wear yourself out or break the staple. If you do break the staple, that's not the end of the world, but it's so much easier if you don't have little shards of metal trying to cut you while you're working or sanding or anything like that. It's going to tear up your sandpaper. But if you did break it, get yourself some of these little punches. This is like just a metal punch, and there's several sizes, pointier, and some have like a dip in them. They all have a dip, I guess, but this goes right over the head of the sharp thing that you're trying to push back into the wood. And then you just kind of like tap it in, and then it'll be buried under the wood instead of sticking out if it's too short for you to pull off. Definitely want to wash your hands after touching stuff this old. It's so dirty. I can see the dirt on it. Ugh. As I'm looking here, this appears to be one panel that's not, stop it, attached to this armrest piece. And I'm right. Okay, cool. Because at first I thought this was one piece that went over, and it's not. Okay, got it. So that is the side panel. Conveniently, I'm filming this, so I don't have to take pictures. But normally, if I were just doing this not on film, I would record or take photos of each and every step so that I know what it looks like before I put on the next thing when I'm building it back up. This is something I've never seen before. It's a little cardboard strip. Like, I don't know what that's for. This is cotton batting, and I will not be reusing this because it's also very, very gross. This would have absorbed odors, dust, various other things. This is like a dust cover material, and I'm not sure why they put it on the inside. Let's find out. Let's see what's under here that might give us a clue. You notice I don't just like grab any fabric because there's just random staples all over the place. So I'm very careful about where I put my hands. And again, gloves are the recommended thing, but mine are in the garage. I find arguing with the material usually helps. Sometimes you have to cuss at it, which is the most complex piece I've ever done. So I thought I would do it live on camera with all you guys, right? So they take the armrest and they fold over quite a lot. That's good info to know. Oh, by the way, here's the color it used to be. Kind of pretty, still tacky though, in my opinion. Maybe there's people out there who still really dig a pink velvet couch. If you're following along, you might even be able to go dig out some old granny chair that you might have, and we can do this together. Here we are. Wow, here's the skeleton of the side. So we've got a slanted board here, a curved board there, reinforcements in the corners, none in the bottom on this side. There's one in the front. Back here, there isn't one, and I wonder if that's the best way or if I should maybe add one. I don't know. I mean, it held up this long. Here's where I landed after about 20 something minutes of taking all the staples out of the outside. So there's a ton of them on the floor, but also these cool old nails, and they literally don't make them like that anymore. So I keep the ones that are fairly straight because I can always use them to like put on tiny keyholes. I did not take out these nails here because it's holding this together, but any of the small finishing nails I removed. This became necessary. Ugh. I don't know if you noticed at the beginning of the video, but it looked like it was snowing in here if you looked carefully. And that's dust. And if you look up what dust is made of, I'm not going to go into it, but it's disgusting. I want to show you kind of how those buttons are put on, or rather, yeah, I guess you just call them buttons. This is the foam like I was talking about that I thought might be under here besides batting. This is the tuft on the front is pulled through with these little cardboard things, and then these are like the old folders where you would put in the prongs and then it opens up. That's what that is. So I'm just going to keep that all together until it's time for me to rebuild so that I know what I'm doing. I can tell how old this is now based on what I've pulled apart. I have nails, which is from the original upholstery, which, as I've stated, is somewhere between 1870 and 1890 is when these were popular and the most frequently made. And this is, according to Wikipedia, in response to the overly ornate Rococo and Baroque styles of the Victorian era. So this is the simplified version with fewer swirls and whatnot and a little bit more modern, clean edges, still detailed, but not super deep carvings. These are more like etchings that could have been done by machinery. That's how I know how old the frame is, but this material, clearly not from the 1800s. So it has been reupholstered possibly twice, and I'll say twice because there are 1,000 gold looking or copper staples, and then there are a whole bunch of silver staples. This was probably refinished maybe in the 50s or 60s. But I can see all of the old nails, which is how they originally would have put this together. Therefore, I know that it really is as old as I thought it was. And I am removing every single staple that's in here. Is that necessary? No. Am I going to keep doing it anyway? Yes. So this has been about 2 hours to get this far, is because I want to be able to reupholster, which is not my strong suit, without worrying about running into other metal. And since I know it was reupholstered twice, there's the nails, there's the copper staples, there's the silver staples, and then I'm going to put fabric and try to staple again. I'm going to keep running into metal, and I'm going to end up having more trouble than if I just have this wood to work with. Ta-da! One naked couch. I still have to take off these straps on the bottom. I'm going to have to lift up this cushion. Here is all of my material that's been pulled off, so I can use this for template. And by the way, make sure you're up to date on your tetanus shots. I'm not kidding. These areas here have all the marks of their original upholstery, those steel nails. And here it is after I've removed what does not need to be there. Keeping things that are obvious for construction, like the deep screws that hold the support together. Here's the underside of the couch. Looks like I'm gonna need to replace some missing foot pads because there's not one on a single one. And I couldn't even begin to tell you what this line of staples is about. But all of this webbing is what's supposed to have supported the bottom of the couch, and it's all either no longer attached or all stretched out anyway. Okay, one voiceover. Sadly, I could not read what this says. Here's what we've got going forward. Everything's been taken out of this. I have vacuumed a dozen times, just found another staple, like literally just as I'm looking at it. Hopefully I got up all the rusty nails. I was absolutely 100% not kidding about the tetanus shot. I was wearing shoes when I had, or slippers when I had to do the nail removal. But yeah, a lot of rusty nails, definitely at risk of getting a problem if you step on one of those. This thing didn't even actually draw first blood. I have a little scratch, but it didn't totally break the skin, so I say I'm winning. And I also removed any bits of trim that were kind of hanging. This actually came from here, but it was sort of like that. You can't really see, but trust me, there's a big gap. I glued this little broken bit back on last night. And then I decided, oh, I think I should have moved it over a little bit, and I tried whacking it with a hammer. Like, I was giving it some good hits trying to re-break right where it was. That glue still held. That is Titebond Ultra wood glue. And it really worked. So I guess we're just going to go with a little bit of wood fill, and I'll sand where I didn't quite line it up just right. But that's going to go back onto these dowels, which was another indicator of the late 1800s construction. That's how they put a lot of things together, was with dowels instead of or in addition to the nails. But in the meantime, before I put any of that back together, I wanted to take it all apart so I could clean it more easily, sand it more easily, because I don't want to lose all my detailing. I'll go over what I'm going to do to clean it. I have shop towels, and I have a, it's like a scrub brush attachment that just goes into your drill. This is the coolest thing. This one is Ryobi. I'm sure other brands make it as well, but you just use it on your drill and do that. So I have my TSP cleaner. That's trisodium phosphate cleaner. You can buy that at any big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's. You can buy it from paint companies, but TSP, I think, is TSP no matter what label they put on it. And it is a really good degreaser and deglosser and cleaner. So I have this already mixed with water and just thrown into the Myers Clean Day bottle. That's not what this is. I suppose you could use that if you want, but it won't necessarily do what you want it to do. So I'm just gonna spritz this on here, and then with my little drill cleaner, clean it like that. And then I can wipe away the dirt. Ta-da! Now that it was cleaned once with the TSP, I'm going to go back around with plain water. I'm going to do the same thing over again and just rinse all the TSP off. Also, since the rags came away like this and these clear gloves, you see that dirt, came away like this, I'm not certain that it's totally clean yet anyway. So I'm probably going to do that over maybe twice before I feel confident in just rinsing it and then painting it. If I don't clean it, the paint doesn't stick. If the paint doesn't stick, I've wasted all my time. As you saw while I was continuing to clean, I kept coming across more nails and more staples. The more you clean it, the more you see the shiny parts that indicate a nail, and the more I would change my perspective on it, the more I would see nails sticking out either all the way through the wood that had to be pushed back through, or that's the, if you can't beat them, join them. So you saw me sometimes pounding them in, sometimes taking them out. If they seem to be something that is supportive or putting pieces together, I pounded them back in if they were strong, sturdy nails. And if they were not, I pulled them out. I think that's about it for this video. And when I come back, we're going to discuss upholstering. That's going to be fun because I don't have any idea where I'm going with this. I don't have fabric yet. Maybe. I have so much fabric I can't even see straight. So maybe I already have it. If you've enjoyed this, I really hope that you will follow my channel and subscribe, leave comments. If you hated it, go ahead, leave comments because that helps me too. I'll take it. And yeah, next time we're going to do a little bit of the fun and pretty stuff, not just the down and dirty, really dirty stuff. So thank you. This was Diamonds from the Rough. Come back for part 2. It'll be next week or so. Thanks. Bye.